Hi, I'm Mike Marino, and this is a brand new episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. Now, it's taken me a very long time to get this young man to come on this show. My producer tracked him down, Tatiana. I tried to call him once in a while. He wouldn't take my phone calls. About a year now, we're trying to get him to come down to the basement, but successfully, we've done it. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, David Howard Thornton. He's got 3 names. What's up, buddy?
Doing great,
Thank
man.
you for coming over.
Thank you
man.
for having me. It's fantastic.
I mean, I'm watching everything that you got going on, and I'm sure that maybe your personal appearances now are going through the roof, and everybody's calling you to have them on, have you on their podcast and stuff like that.
It's a little bit wild because I used to have a lot more time for podcasts, especially during COVID. I think during that time period, I did like 200 podcasts in 1 year, and I was like, this is insane. But now I'm on the road basically every single weekend doing conventions, so it's a lot harder to find ways to come in and do podcasts with people.
Holy shit. Well, I mean, that's really great. Well, thank you for coming over, and thank you for doing that with us now. We have really been trying to get you. And it's a good thing we're getting you now because it's going to probably get even more intense.
Oh, boy.
Now that you got all the projects in the works. And I congratulate you, man. I hope they keep on going. And this franchise that we're going to talk about that you're a huge part of just keeps on going.
It's been nuts. It's definitely, especially these past few months since part 3 came out, it's been insane for not just myself, but everybody involved in those films. I've
actually, in my research, when I was watching all the clips, I've seen the other 2 cast members that are continuing on with a lot of the episodes too. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's great. I love to see that too.
I hope you guys are all good friends and you're just pinching each other like, how did this happen? And it did. It happened.
Yeah, that's basically what it is a bunch of us that just love what we're doing got together and made a little film, and it kind of stuck, and we are kind of surprised about where it's going, but it's a good thing because we all get along very well. Damien has been very good about casting people that work well together, so we don't have egos.
Yeah. You got some good chemistry, and nobody's talking behind anybody's back.
Exactly.
You know, we should get rid of him in this. I never liked him anyway. How did he? My brother would be better for the role.
Oh yeah. Of course, there's probably a little bit of that going on.
Everywhere and anywhere. We're talking about a franchise of one of the most talked about horror movies out there today. It's called Terrifier. But before we get into the movie, this particular project and some other projects, let's go back. Where did you, well, I know you're from Alabama.
Yes.
Which you don't sound like you're from.
No, I had to get rid of the accent a lot when I moved up to New York. I had a lot of agents coming up to me and like, okay, can you get rid of the accent? I'm like, what accent?
Yeah, that's cool.
So I've learned to adapt and get rid of that over the years.
So born, raised Alabama.
Yes, Huntsville.
And you went over to New York in the pursuit of acting.
Yes. I wanted to go be on Broadway and do a lot of voiceover work.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Broadway. Singing and dancing?
I'm
or
a
straight up?
Dance man.
Are you really?
Yeah,
oh,
yes,
see, this is so weird. Guy plays the scariest clown in the movie business, and he just wanted to tap dance.
I did.
It never is what it is. It's so wild. I never even wanted to be a comedian. I just wanted to be an actor. They're like, you're funny. I'm like, no, I'm not. I want to be a theatrical guy. I want to be a clown in a scary movie. Chop me up. Damn it. Why do I got to tell jokes?
It's funny. The thing with me is I do not only do I do music and all that, I do over 200 voices in about 25 different dialects.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm known for being silent now. So it's the irony of that. It's like, jeez, I can do more, folks. I can do more.
You know what's funny is, we got to go back to this because I want to stay on this track. But when I saw you in the Mean One,
yeah,
when I saw the movie The Mean One, I'm like, is this guy going to say anything?
Nope.
And I had to drive an hour and a half to see that movie because it wasn't playing where I was. And, I promised Tatiana, our producer of this show, who did the makeup on The Mean One, I'm like, I'll see it. But I have to go an hour and a half. It's not playing where I'm at. And it was winter. At least I think it was winter. And I'm like, this is really great. This is creepy. This is scary. Is this guy going to say anything?
Just at the very end.
Yeah.
I have one line. No. Go. No, that's what it was. Go.
The the creature was really, really great
Oh,
in that movie.
I was thinking of Marcel Marceau in Silent Movie. That's the
that's right.
He said no. He was the only one that spoke in that movie.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
What was that name of that movie?
Silent Movie. Mel Brooks.
Silent Movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Marcel Marceau, who was a French mime.
Mime, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. See, I know some history.
Yeah. It's that's the funny thing is I've done 4 different film roles. I have done the Terrifier films. I did the Mean One, Screamboat, and also oh my gosh, what was the other one? Stream. In all 4 of those movies, I've been silent for the most part in the movie, and it's like it's nice though because I don't have to memorize lines.
Yeah,
that's great.
That could be the good part of it. In this scene, you don't say anything. Good. Okay,
Like,
roll.
I just show up. I'm like, what am I doing today, guys? Okay, cool. Step.
What's the look on this? So you leave Alabama, you go to New York City. Is this in out of high school, going to college?
It was a few years after I got out of college. I actually went to college to become an elementary school teacher.
In Alabama?
In Alabama, University of Montevallo, right down in the very middle of Alabama.
So in high school or colleges, were you doing like the acting thing, like a play, musical theater?
Yeah, I did all that on the side in addition to my studies, and it was my final year of my studies. I was in my internship, and it was about a year after my mom passed away from cancer, and my life was on a different weird path at that point, and I was dealing with a lot of other drama in my life because in the month I went back for my internship, my grandmother died, my dog died, a friend of mine committed suicide, and my sister married a homeless man. So I was like,
and I became a comedian. There
you go.
You sure you don't want to do some stand-up?
Oh boy, no, I was doing a lot of sitting down then.
Oh shit, man, I'm sorry about all of that.
But that's what set me on my path.
That's what builds some character, I guess, and some strength to go forward.
Yeah,
and leaving Alabama for New York it was
crazy.
It's a big ass challenge. What a difference in the world.
That was definitely a big change for me. It's like when I first moved to New York, I stood out like a sore thumb.
I could imagine.
I was just walking down the street, waving at everybody. Hi, how are y'all doing? Hey, just talking to everybody on the subway. Well, how are y'all doing today? What are you doing today? Okay.
How you doing today? Give me your wallet. Give me your wallet.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you're not from. No, I just moved here and I'm just loving the city. All these big buildings and stuff like that. This is really cool.
This nice person offered me a ride home.
Yeah.
I don't know where we are and I can't even find my car. Good for you. Yeah. So did you go to acting school in the city?
I took occasional classes here or there, but that was more just to network and all that. My classroom was always the stage. I just learned from doing it and being on stage with more advanced actors, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I had more experience. I was like a human sponge. And so I guess in a way it's kind of nice because I was able to develop my own style of acting as opposed to a lot of my friends that went to acting schools and developed certain methods. I just kind of have a nice smattering of all these different methods.
I always wondered about that because, when I got out of high school, you had to have college in your background. That's at least what your parents said.
Yes.
My college was the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Oh, yes.
And you learn how to be a fine Stanislavski actor and the method, like you said. And that didn't work so well for a guy like me because I was in a hurry to get in the business.
Yeah.
And they didn't want you in the business. And then I went to Herbert Berghoff Studios in the Village, which was great.
Yeah.
In that school, you learned acting.
That's cool.
Scene study, and you saw a lot of celebrities going in and out of there too, rehearsing for whatever it is that they were working on. But so did you go out for auditions for plays and stuff like that? Was your goal off Broadway?
I did a lot of off Broadway shows starting off. I mean, my very first thing I did in New York is maybe 2 weeks into living there. I did these commercials that were only shown in Asia called Voice Asia. So I was like their Verizon guy.
Oh, really?
So I would just pop up and go, Voice Asia. That's how I started.
Where did you get the learning and the technique to have all these voices?
It just came to me naturally. I always say that's my autism special power.
All right.
I'm just really good at mimicry. I can just hear an interesting voice and mimic it. I started when I was in first grade. I discovered it during story time where my teacher was reading us a Mickey Mouse book. And there was a girl I had a crush on in my class, and she hands me a little note asking me to be her boyfriend. I let out this, gosh, yuck. And I was like, Oh. I was like, I want to learn how to do this. And then it was about a year or so later that the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out. And they had this whole behind the scenes documentary they showed on TV one week. And that's when I learned about Mel Blanc that did all the voices of Looney Tunes. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's this one guy that did all these voices that I grew up with, like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Barney Rubble, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, wow, that sounds really cool. I want to learn how to do that. So I just kind of had an ear for it. And I was big into cartoons. So I would just mimic the voices I would hear in cartoons. And I would just kind of obsess over it until I got the voice down pat. And I was like, okay, now I'll move on to the next voice. And I'd also sit there with my action figures and do all the voices for the Ninja Turtles and stuff like that.
Well, that gives me an idea. We do a thing called The Adventures of G.I. Giovanni. We could use some voices for the dolls.
That would be fun.
Well, that's another episode. You know, it's funny. I do know Mel Blanc, and I think he was like the original voice guy for the world.
Yeah.
He did all. Butler. I don't know who that is.
He was basically like Mel Blanc was the Warner Brothers guy. Daws Butler was the Hanna-Barbera guy.
Right.
So he did all the Hanna-Barbera characters.
I can't think of a Hanna-Barbera show.
Like Yogi Bear and Huckleberry Hound,
Snagglepuss?
Yeah, Snagglepuss.
All right, then I guess I do know.
Yeah.
It seems like there probably was a lot more work for voiceover artists back in the day than today.
It seems like, because like back then, up through maybe like the early mid 90s, that was like a specialty. And these were the guys and the women, of course, like June Foray, et cetera, and Tress MacNeille and all them, that they were the voiceover people. And then they started doing all these animated films where they were casting A-list celebrities to come in and do the characters. And I think that took a lot of jobs away from those voiceover actors. And so they're not as well known now, I feel like, as they were when I was growing up, which is a shame because these voiceover actors, in my opinion, are more talented than a lot of these A-list celebrities that you see out there because, you know, a lot of these A-list celebrities, especially when they come into voiceover, they just do their own voice.
Do their own voice.
No.
That's right. These cartoon guys created voices.
Yes.
And you wondered how they had so many voices in one throat. Weren't they called Foley artists?
Foley artists, those are the people that do all the sound effects.
Oh.
Yeah. But some of those guys could be Foley artists because like from the Police Academy movies, Michael Winslow. Those sound effects.
Comedian.
Yes. Oh, he's fantastic.
You mentioned, or at least I think you did, Roger Rabbit?
Roger Rabbit. Please.
Yeah. Well, that was Charles Fleischer.
Yes.
And Charles Fleischer is a stand-up comedian, actor. And when I first started at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, we used to see him every Friday and Saturday night. And he actually played the piano, he sang, he played the harmonica.
Wow.
And to end it all, he would go into Roger Rabbit. And the funniest thing is to watch him perform, he didn't do Roger Rabbit at all. Mm-hmm. And then he did it to close. And you're like, whoa, how did he change his voice like that? Because it's extremely different.
It is extremely different.
I remember when I was younger, he played a tough guy in... Well, I'm really going to show my age now, but Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And it was Charles Fleischer. He must have been like 19.
Oh, my gosh, that's insane.
The bell keeps ringing. I wish we were making money.
It's like, dang it.
Oh, man, so that's great. So you could do Roger Rabbit.
I could. That was like one of those characters I want to learn how to do, especially how he did the with his cheek. Because a lot of people just do the, but I watched how he did it, and I noticed he did it with his cheek, and so I taught myself how to do that, where you just blow air into your cheek. And that's how you can also do the Donald Duck sound.
All right, so here comes the challenge. He said he's got 25 of them. Can we start them down? You want to do them? Can you entertain us like this? Can you name them?
Yeah.
You created them? They're yours, or are they a prototype of somebody else?
I mean, basically, it's like those accents. I do like 25 different accents. I probably do over 200 voices.
Oh, shit.
So you can probably just name some cartoon characters.
I'm going to go to the bathroom. You just start banging them out. Holy shit. 200?
Yeah, I lost count around 200 about 10 years ago, and it's just... I just like, yeah, it's over 200.
If you do 200 voices, and you have friends and you're talking to your friends and you show them how you come up with a different voice, did they start looking at you like maybe you're schizophrenic?
Oh, definitely.
How do you do all of that?
Oh, I remember one time when I was in college, I had my own dorm room to myself, and I would just practice voices and I'll practice dialects. And there was one day I was in the bathroom because we shared a communal bathroom in the dorm, and the guy next door to me is like, how many people did you have in your room last night? And I was like, oh, it was just me. He's like, no, but I heard so many different people in there. It sounded like you were having like a UN conference going on because all these different voices and accents. I was like, oh, that was just me. I was just practicing. They're like, what is wrong with you?
Too bad they didn't have TikTok back when you were in that time.
No
You're going to be making a
kidding.
fortune on
No
TikTok with all these
kidding.
different voices of people talking to each other. You ever call somebody with a different voice?
I used to do
you ever
that.
answer the phone?
Yeah.
He's not here.
No, I had fun with phone solicitors back in the day when they used to call me because they would wake me up in the morning on weekends in college, and I would just start messing with them because I was getting so tired of people waking me up. So I just, it was like just pretending like, I would just like I was foreign or something like that. I'm like, I do not understand what you're trying to do here, but I no David. I do not know who this David person is. What is going on? I don't know.
Was that Russian?
I don't. It's just so
German?
generic. Like the German is a little bit different, I guess you could say. I actually came from Huntsville, Alabama, which had a heavy German population because of Operation Paperclip. Because they brought all the German scientists over after World War II to start what became NASA. And my grandfather worked with all of them to start.
Oh, no kidding.
He was with the Army Missile Command. So he was basically their expert in ordnance. So he knew how to make things go boom. And Dr. von Braun's like, I like this guy. I want him to help us make all these rockets and we'll do all of this. And so that's what he did.
Interesting. I'm going to want you to do a couple.
Sure.
And maybe I'll even pick them. But the reason why I hesitate is that there's an actor who does, I think, 4 languages in a great movie. And I just look at him and I wish I could act like that.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure you do that too. Mm-hmm. Who am I thinking of? Shoot. He does German, he does French, he does Italian, and he's in, shit. And it'll come to me when we're done.
He speaks in all those languages?
He does,
That's
yeah.
amazing. See, I can't speak in all these languages. I wish I was.
A Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, Christoph Waltz.
Yes.
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 Oh, he's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, he's wonderful. I thought that was so funny how, like, one year he's nominated for an Oscar for playing an extremely racist man, and the next year he wins an Oscar for playing a guy that was going against racists in both, Tarantino films,
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards.
Yes, that's the movie. Inglourious Bastards.
I love Inglourious Bastards. That opening was so good.
He's damn good, boy.
That's a bingo.
That's you. You just say bingo. So the voices that you were doing in New York and going out on auditions to be on Broadway and stuff like that, what was the ultimate goal, and were you on Broadway?
I never got to be on Broadway. I got very close a few times, but I did different tours with How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, for 5 years.
Okay, so you sing. That was my next question.
I do sing.
You're a musical guy.
I was a singer before I was an actor. I started off singing as a child in church theater.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, yeah. I was a boy soprano for a long time too. I was a late bloomer, so my voice didn't change until my 10th grade year of high school. So I got paraded around. Oh, this is our amazing boy soprano, and I could sing higher than the girls. And then things changed and dropped.
When I was pursuing my career in New York City as an actor, people would say, "Can you sing?" I'd say, "No, I can't sing." They said, "Then go to California. Get out of here. This is for musical theater."
Yeah. It's funny how now it's there's so much stage work there as well, and you have a lot of film actors from here going to LA a lot now to do plays.
When you were doing the voices in the city, and we say the city because that's, I don't know, a regionalism, Manhattan, were you making money? Can you earn a living as a voiceover artist?
I was making a little bit at the time because it was all non-union at the time. And because I did a lot of non-union work, especially for children's animation. I did this one show called Super Wings for a whole season, and I was basically their go-to guy to make animal sounds. So they just bring me in to do random animals from time to time, and it was great.
So 200 characters or 200 accents?
200 characters, about 25 different accents.
Characters. I try to do 3. One of them's me.
Hey, but
they're all me.
The important thing is if you can even do just one character great, then you're good.
The characters I have are impersonations of people who existed.
Yeah.
It's a parody of someone who existed. Mm-hmm. Is that the way you came up with it?
Pretty much.
Really?
But most of my characters were like more
Somebody's
from...
dying to talk to me.
Most of my characters were from animation. So I don't do a lot of celebrity, like real life people, unless they have a very distinct voice. It's just... they have to have an interesting sounding voice to me.
I wish, of course, I want to do character voices, but I would like to, more than anything, do accents.
Yes.
Now, of course, I could sound like I'm from New Jersey because I am. Almost, could have killed your career when you were trying to be a spokesperson. I tried to get rid of my accent when I was living in New York City so I could be a spokesperson. Yeah. I moved to California. They said, you're funnier when you sound like you're from New Jersey. I'm like, oh, go figure. I can do some voices if I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm imitating it, but I can't really come up with it. So who do you got? If you have 200, let's pick your top 5, or is that too much pressure and you want me to pick?
Top 5's good. Of course, I love the classics. A good old Bugs Bunny. Ain't I your stinker? What's up, Doc? Of course, then you got Daffy there. Well, okay, here, Rabbit. You are despicable. You know that. So you go there. Of course.
Can I pick one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh shit! Now I'm going to forget. Of course, I was a fan of Bugs Bunny, and then who was the guy who chased after Bugs Bunny all the time?
Elmer. I'm like
Elmer Fudd.
Very, very quiet. I'm hunting Wabbit. You got him. They got Marvin Martian. Oh, this makes me so very angry.
Was that the guy from outer space?
Yes.
Yes.
Where's
the Martian.
There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Yeah. Let me throw you off.
Yeah.
How about the little guy that popped in and out on top of Fred Flintstone?
Oh, the Great Gazoo. Hold on. Let me find him there because that was Harvey Korman that did the voice of him.
Really?
Yes. And you dumb.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm the Great Gazoo.
Yes. Oh, he was smooth.
Oh, he was great.
Wasn't he cool?
Yeah.
I wonder if these cartoons would be allowed on television these days.
I don't think so.
Because when he popped out, you were thinking, hey, man, what's wrong with him?
Oh, yeah. This little green guy just floating around. It's like, there it is.
He was floating.
Yeah.
He really did.
Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
You got, Barney there.
I love
Dino. And then, of course, since I was in Screenboat, I have to do Mickey, the, oh, boy, I hope you heard of me. I hope.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Yes. Wait a minute. Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse.
I would have to hear them again.
You remember, though?
I remember them vaguely, yes.
He always had that gun in his belt. But he never had any in his belt. They just popped up.
Yeah.
Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse.
Yes.
And then he was green. He was a tough guy. Had a big cigar. He was supposed to be Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's been forever.
Too bad people can't write in right now because this is a trivia game.
I know, because that's a throwback.
Can I throw it out?
There, yeah.
The frog.
The frog, like Michigan J. Frog. The hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello,
no, but I remember that guy.
Yeah.
He was scary when you were a kid.
Oh yeah.
He could scare the hell out of you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I was thinking of Frog. He was supposed to be Edward G. Robinson. He had big lips. Yeah, it's the Frog.
See.
And
yes. Yeah,
this is fucking
rats.
great. We could do this for hours.
I also love a big Animaniacs fan, so of course I love Pinky and the Brain. And I got brain. Yes, Pinky.
You remember there was like a family of gangsters, and I think it had something to do with
the Anthill Mob, maybe.
Yes, and the dog.
Yeah,
do the dog. Do the dog. Come on, you could do it, Muttley.
I wish I could do Dick Dastardly's voice. I never figured out how
that was
to do
him.
It. Yeah, that
he was like the leader of that guy.
Yeah.
Dick Dastardly, and then the dog always wanted a medal.
Yeah, yeah, because you had the wacky races and the Laugh Olympics back in the day, of course.
These such great cartoons. Where are all those cartoons?
Course, then you got to go with Scooby Doo over here, man. yeah, I love them.
That's good. Yeah. I love Scooby Doo. Yeah. Who was the voice of Scooby Doo? Was a famous radio guy.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm totally blank. No, Shaggy was Casey Kasem.
Oh, I thought Casey Kasem was Scooby.
No. It was. It's now Frank Welker that has done Scooby for a while because he also did Fred. But I think it was Dawes Butler that was originally Scooby.
Wow, you know everybody's name.
Oh, this was an obsession of mine as a child. These were my heroes.
I'm holding my own.
All these guys, like Rob Paulson, Maurice LaMarche,
I wouldn't know anybody's name, but I do remember the cartoons, and I remember how much fun it was to watch them. I'm still trying to think of the gangsters. They were gangsters. Morticia. Natasha.
Oh, yes, from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yeah. Okay, boom.
Boris Badenov.
Yep.
yes.
Can you do the squirrel?
I can't do Rocky because that was June Foray that did the voice of Rocky.
How do you even know these names?
I was obsessed.
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, I feel like I'm obsessed now. Yeah, it's Bullwinkle.
Bullwinkle, yeah. I love Rocky.
Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse. There was definitely
Peabody and Sherman. There's like, oh yes.
Yeah, remember him.
Hello there, Sherman.
Yes. Okay, here comes a good one.
Okay.
He was a walrus. No, he had a friend that was a walrus, and when things didn't work out, they had to call this one guy who knew the answers to everything. Phineas J. Whoopi.
I don't know this one.
I stumped him.
Wow, you actually got
I stumped him.
Wow, that's rare.
No, you got to get it.
That is rare.
There was a walrus, and he talked really like he was a dummy, and the other guy was really smart, and he goes, this is how you do this and how you do that, and he goes, but we don't know the answer. What should we do? Call Phineas J. Whoopi.
Interesting.
Yeah. Shit. Now
This sounds like something that would have been done by the same company that did.
Of course.
Bullwinkle.
Yeah, they were all a bunch of cartoon creators that smoked a lot of weed. Let's be honest.
They had some great ideas.
I mean, if you think of Sid and Marty Krofft.
Oh my God.
They had to have been high.
They had to have been.
The flute talked.
Yeah, that was
one actor was from England.
Yeah.
You remember these guys? Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
Oh my God.
How did we get on this? Chumley.
From Tennessee Tuxedo.
Tennessee Tuxedo,
yeah, because that was Don Adams that did the voice of Tennessee Tuxedo.
That's right. Who had a sitcom at the time.
Yeah, he was also agent on Get Smart.
Tatiana's
he was also, I'm always on duty. Inspector Gadget.
But I do remember them say, we need to call Phineas J. Whoopi. Because he had all the answers.
Yes.
Tennessee Tuxedo. I think he was
Tuxedo, yes.
What was he? He was a penguin.
Yes.
And the walrus.
He had a little hat on. Yeah.
Come on. How much fun would it be if we created a cartoon?
Oh, so much fun. Those were fun. They were
Go get the bong. Oh, man. Okay, so let's fast forward now. This young man happens to be working in the film business. Now, you've done a lot of films, and of course, this one is going to scream the loudest. And you're, I think to be part of a franchise, an ongoing series of movies, is a blessing from out of nowhere. I think one of the greatest franchises that I like is Saw.
Oh yes, I love Saw. The first Saw especially is like I went in there not knowing there was going to be that plot twist at the end. So when John Kramer got off the ground, I was watching with my best friend and we were already enjoying the movie, but that happened. We were both like, wow,
yeah,
wow. Did not see that twist coming. Oh, love those films. Love those films.
The other franchises, of course, that kick ass is Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
I believe sometimes they got a little watered down from the originals. Me personally, when I watch a horror, if it's not going to scare the living crap out of me, I enjoy a campy one.
Oh, of course.
A goofy one. I watched the new, I don't even know how to say it, Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yes, you did not like it.
No. Oh, you can do it?
Yes.
One of my favorite lines in the movie is when he says, "Your higher learning," or whatever he was talking about.
Higher learning.
Yes, you can do it. Dude, indulge me. I'll wait over here. That's the greatest voice in the movie history. I just didn't like the movie. It just didn't do it for me.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the original. That scared the shit out of you.
It was directly off of Bram Stoker's Dracula to a T.
Right.
So
yes.
I knew exactly what was going to happen. But it itself was a great movie, especially Skarsgård, and he's fantastic. And you would not look at him and know that was Bill Skarsgård underneath all of that.
No, of course not.
I understand they even put a prosthetic on his tongue, which is insane to me.
A role of a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, I love William Dafoe.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He is fantastic. He's someone I always thought should have been the Joker. He would have been an amazing Joker.
Well, speaking of the Joker, let's get into it. Okay, so did you ever think pursuing your acting career you'd be these type of characters? Or were you hoping you were going to be, I don't know, a leading man in a drama or a sidekick in a comedy? Did you know you were going to all of a sudden have this world of horror?
No. I was always a comedy guy. And so I was never even seeing myself as a leading character. I always saw myself as like a sidekick or something like that. I would love to be on sitcom, being like the funny roommate or something like that.
The neighbor.
Yeah, the like the Kramer or
the other G.I. Joe doll.
Yes. Yeah. So I was like, I never imagined myself being the killer, like the main guy in a horror movie, because usually those are big, huge, buff guys, and I'm a twig.
Well, how does it happen? I mean, what was the first, let's say, horror that you did?
That was Terrifier. The first.
What
Terrifier
about
film.
Screamboat, the Stream, Joker?
Yeah, those all
the
came
mean
afterwards.
One. They did.
Those all came afterwards.
After the first
Terrifier.
So Terrifier was the first scary guy.
Yeah, that was actually my first film role too.
Is that right?
I had done some extra work, but nothing other than that. And
so how did you get Terrifier? Where was the audition?
It was at a small little studio in New York City. They put a notice on Actors Access looking for a tall, skinny guy that had experience doing physical comedy and clowning. And I was like, this is perfect.
But he actually asked for physical comedy?
Physical comedy, because he's a clown. And I was like, this is perfect for me. And my agent fought me on it. She did not want me to audition for it because it was very low budget independent film.
I hope you're watching.
I'm not with her anymore.
I didn't want to be the guy to say that. Gotta go.
Like, bye. She didn't even let me know when I got cast. It's like I did not know for a few months, and I went in there for the makeup test, and they're like, I was like, does this mean I have the role? I'm like, yeah, you've had the role for like a few months. I'm like, really?
Oh, wow.
No one told me. He's like, your agent didn't tell you? I'm like, no, she never told me.
Showbiz is so nuts.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't understand why I was sending her that 10%.
So you go in, you audition for Art the Clown.
Yeah.
Was it written, Art the Clown? This is the audition for him?
Yes.
And you knew that it was going to be a scary character, but they
Yes.
wanted somebody who could be physical and, because you are physical, that's for damn sure. I look at your energy, I'm like, I'm exhausted.
Oh,
how do you even keep up? I'd be exhausted getting all that makeup put on.
Oh, it's a process. It's a process. But I mean, I don't have it nearly as bad as like my co-star Samantha Scafidi did in part 3.
Oh, is she the one with the smushed face?
All of it, yeah. It took about 8 hours for her to get into all of that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just her prosthetic on the face. She had prosthetics all up her arms and legs and anywhere that would.
I wonder if it's fun to a certain degree.
Not for her. She could only see through one little pinhole in her eye too, so that was very difficult for her. So she was miserable.
Imagine that. Lunch.
Yeah.
Not for me.
She's like, oh, great. Oh, there's this one horrible day where she had an eyelash get in her eye that was covered up the whole entire time.
Oh.
And there was no way they could get to it because that would mean they would have to take off the prosthetic, and that would take another few hours to reattach everything. And it was just, so she had to just go through the whole entire day trying to get this eyelash out of her eyes without touching her eyes. And I felt so bad.
That was on the first Terrifier?
Third one.
Oh, the third one.
Third one, yeah.
When they had a bigger budget.
Yes. No, when she did the first one, though, because she still had the prosthetic in the first one at the beginning of the movie, she had just come back from, I think, Costa Rica, and she caught some kind of horrible virus there. So she had a horrible fever, and she was just so sick, and she was literally sweating off the makeup that whole entire day. So she was miserable as anything when she did the opening scene in Terrifier. It's like she's had bad luck.
Yeah, but she's got good luck because she's in the franchise.
Yeah, exactly. She's not complaining now.
So you go audition for this role.
Mhm.
They like you. You met the director in the first audition,
Yes.
callback, and they get the role. And of course, you don't hear from your agent, but you know that you got it.
Mhm.
You said that there's a makeup test
A makeup test. They just wanted to put me in the makeup and see how that went.
and said, well, you got the role, but we need to see how your face is going to look with the makeup.
Exactly. They just wanted to. They want me to. My final test, I guess you could say, my final audition. They said is they had just ordered pizza, and this is on Staten Island there in New York, in the middle of the day in like August, and they're like, okay, here's your final test, Dave. You go up to the door and just answer the door as art and go. And I'm like, okay. And I open the door and there's a pizza guy there, and I'm just like, with the money. And he's like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, take the money.
You had all the makeup on,
yeah,
little black dot in your hat.
Oh yeah. He's like, no. He's like, I'm just gonna leave this here. And
Clowns in general can be scary as shit.
yeah.
I was looking at all the different clowns that pop up when I'm looking at your work, and of course you have all the famous clowns in the scary movies.
Mm-hmm.
But here's another throwback to you. I don't know if you remember Bozo the clown.
Oh yes, I actually have a history of Bozo.
Oh no!
Yes,
we'll be right
yes.
back after this commercial break.
Not in that way.
Bozo,
Yeah, Bozo
was like the greatest Saturday guy to watch when you were a kid. We used to sit there eating Drake's cakes and yodels and ring dings and funny bones. You remember funny bones? Mom, give me the funny bone. Bozo's on.
Yes.
And then he sang Bozo. Stupid.
I used to watch him every single morning before I went to school. We had an affiliate station of WG in Chicago, and they had the Bozo show on when I was a kid, and I watched it every single day. I even submitted my name for the grand prize game. But then there's like one, I think it was when I was in third grade, Bozo went on a tour of the U.S., and he came through Huntsville, and I got invited to be on stage with him and do some of his shtick with him, which was amazing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You met him?
I met Bozo. I met the Bozo.
I wonder what the history of his life is.
Oh, I know.
Like, did he audition for that? Was he an actor?
Well, there were different actors that played Bozo, too. So the Bozo I met was that Bozo that had taken over in the early 80s from the original Bozo.
Oh, really?
I think. So, yeah.
Don't you hate when there's a new guy you look at? That's not him.
But this guy was this was my Bozo.
Oh,
So
yeah?
it's like when I see the other Bozo, I'm like, that doesn't feel like the right Bozo.
He might have been in black and white.
Yeah.
Was it black and white? The first
I think
Bozo?
the original was black.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there must have been 3 or 4 different Bozos.
Yeah.
I remember I got depressed when they replaced Ronald McDonald. I'm like, that's not him.
Oh, I know. Oh, you
That's not
remember
him.
who was the original? Ronald
No.
McDonald? It was oh god, he was the weather forecaster. Not Will from. Oh my god, Willard Scott.
Was it really?
Willard Scott.
He was
And-
the original
yeah,
clown?
you got to see a picture of him. You got to look it up because he doesn't look like what we think of Ronald McDonald. No, he had like a box on his head. It looked like French fry hair, and he had the big nose, of course. And he looked like a homeless man.
This is going to be ridiculous, but I got to say this.
Yeah.
You know, I told you I like to collect.
Yes.
Well, I have the Hamburglar.
Oh my god.
And I got Mayor McCheese.
Oh
I
yes.
got it at a garage sale.
Oh, and officer.
They're all
was it
jacked
Officer
up. They're a
Big
little
Mac?
fucked up. They're not really worth that much money.
Oh, who cares?
But if
They're
you remember
awesome.
them, right?
Oh, I used to because all the because I think it was like the craft the Sid and Marty Krofft people that designed.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think they designed the McDonald Land people. So like
McDonald, the land of McDonald's.
Birdie and Grimace and Hamburglar and the Professor and they had the Captain guy. Then they had the Mayor McCheese and they had the Officer Big Mac, I think was his name.
Yeah.
And then they had, of course, the Fry Guys.
The Hamburglar never talked.
And he just rattled.
He just, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
How creepy were these things? If
actually
they came around now.
Oh, I met Ronald McDonald too as
Who?
a kid. Ronald McDonald.
The original?
Yeah, I pissed him off. Not the original though, but they had like
One of.
he would go to different McDonald's when I was a kid and do little magic shows, and I knew how to do magic as a kid. And he kept spitting in my face when he was talking to me, and it pissed me off. And so he handed me the collapsing wand trick, and I knew how that trick worked. And so I kept stopping it from collapsing. And he was just getting more and more upset at me. He's like, okay, you go sit down. You come up here. And
You little brat.
oh, yeah.
You're a brat.
Oh, yeah.
I know how to do it. Get out of here, kid. Go watch Barney.
Yeah. I didn't realize I actually have a history with clowns. This is really funny.
Well, Bozo, I think if we were to see him come out on television these days, he probably would get canceled pretty quickly.
Oh, probably.
Because he was a creepy clown.
Yeah.
But I remember him being fun, and your parents could take the kids and put you in front of that television and you wouldn't move.
Oh, no.
You were having so much fun
loved
watching Bozo.
Because it was Bozo, then he had Cookie and Wizzo the Wizard on there. And he would do all those,
Yeah.
do the little magic tricks and everything.
After Bozo, there was another show, and the lady would call out your name by looking through a wand. Romper Room.
Romper Room. Okay, no, see, that was right before my
We're
time.
never going to get to him being a clown.
No.
Romper Room. There's a big circle. I see Joey. I see Pete. I see Lori. You see all these people. Imagine saying that now. I see them. Where do you see them? What are you looking at?
No. ICE is going to come in.
Oh, man. All right, so you auditioned, you get the part. You are now Art the Clown.
Yes.
Start shooting. And did you go on the set saying to yourself, okay, this is a couple of weeks of a good pay?
Yeah, it wasn't even good pay.
Non-union?
I was non-union at the time, and our budget was $35,000.
Okay, so
I was making maybe $100 a day, and of course, half of that goes to taxes and agents. So I was maybe less than minimum.
So you really
wage
gave
day.
a percentage to the agent who didn't tell you got the job?
I'm too honest.
Good man, good man.
I'm too honest.
Yes.
But I went in there thinking this because I was like, this is a low budget independent film. Who's gonna really see this thing? But
Sure.
I was like, this is my way to finally get on a film set and learn how all this works and get my foot in the door and get some experience, and I can maybe make a reel out of this or something like that. And that's all. I didn't know what was gonna happen.
It's a really great project, and you watch him in this scary clown situation, which he's got on his shirt, I guess.
Yeah,
it's a popcorn version of it. And then they decide, let's make part 2. How'd that happen?
That was because when part 1 released, we had a little popularity for a while because we just released it on just like Vimeo and like DVD, and then a few months later, I guess there was some momentum, and Netflix picked us up. And when Netflix put us out there, it just went kaboom. And they're like, oh, okay, great. So part 2, we're like, we can make a part 2 now. And we tried to get funding, but no one would fund us from any of the studios or anything.
Not even Netflix?
Not even Netflix. Netflix turned us down, which I do not understand. But we're like, okay, well, we'll go to the fans because we had a big fan community. So we made an Indiegogo campaign, and we were just trying to raise $50,000.
Right.
And we raised over $200,000 in just a few days. And
Holy
that was
shit.
insane. It was like, wow, that basically funded the whole entire part 2 because we made the part 2
Wow.
on maybe about $300,000.
Right.
And
That's a pretty good budget, I think, for a horror. That's a lot of money.
yeah, we made use of that. I mean, a lot of us didn't get paid a lot for it, but we still were. I look at I was making my money on the back end. I was going to conventions and signing autographs, and that's how I was making my money. So that was fine. That was totally fine. And then that released in the theaters, and it just went crazy because we've got to put it in theaters. It was only supposed to be in theaters for 3 days in select theaters nationwide, just like maybe 500 theaters. And it just took off. People went nuts over it. And all these other theaters were getting calls from people because everybody's going online. Oh my gosh, this movie Terrifier 2, you have to go see it. Stephen King even tweeted out about it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was like,
Stephen King, baby. Mr.
King.
Horror
The
himself.
king, the king himself. And we were picked up in more theaters, and we were in theaters about 6 weeks. And that way we're like, okay.
It's a great run.
Yeah, and that just, boom.
And so now number 3.
Number 3.
What's the story with all of that? And now you're cashing in, doing tours. And when you do a meet and greet, what do they call it? When you go, Well, I've heard at meet and greets. You know, you go to
I do signings at the table.
A con.
Yeah, a convention.
A convention.
Yes.
You put the makeup on?
I sometimes do. I like this past weekend, I was at Monsterpalooza in Pasadena, and I did a photo op as Art the Clown in my Santa Claus outfit. And I did about 500 photo ops just in costume and makeup.
So you're doing the 500 photo ops. Mm-hmm. So, ladies and gentlemen, that means he's getting paid to sign an autograph, whether he's Art the Clown or himself. And the agent can't commission any of this because they didn't pay attention.
Yep.
But nobody else does. This is all you.
It's just me.
Yeah. It's not the franchise. You're on your own now.
I'm on my own.
This is fantastic news because it's yours.
Yes.
You must be loving that.
Oh, I'm loving it. It's great. It's something I never expected. Got me out of waiting tables, so I'm very happy for that.
And here's even a deeper question, because I know people would ask this question, and you'll see it when it comes through. How does it actually make you feel that you're playing a character that the people can't see your face?
Right.
They don't see your face until you're in a convention, if you take the makeup off. It's like, let's say, Kiss. Everybody knew Kiss was this legendary rock band that wore this thick makeup. But when they took their makeup off, it was kind of like,
yeah,
that's them? They play the same song. It's just, yeah. So how do you feel? How does it make you feel? Are you like, hey, okay, I played the character and the people get it? Because I was also reading comments in some of your other work. And I guess there's some crazy people out there. They'll say really stupid shit, if I could say that. Because when I get some compliments, I'm like, wow. But my eyes go right to the hate mail.
Yep.
I can get 1,000, you're great. And then I look at the one, you suck. I'm like, you mother. That's the only one I see. I can't get out of it either. I'm like, I got to talk to this person. Why would you do that? So I was reading this mail. I don't know exactly where it was. I think it was in general. Creatures and or people who play clowns in general. And there was like hate mail. One person actually said, his makeup's too thick. I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? The hat's too crooked. I don't buy it. I saw that.
So weird.
So how does that make you feel? Not maybe so much the comments, but you're playing a character. So in a way, people come and see the character.
Right. I mean, at first, especially after the first film came out, Damien and I would see a lot of those comments, and we'd get a little defensive because this is something we really worked hard on, and you have people attacking you over the smallest little things. You're just like, this is ridiculous, and you get sometimes you're like, how dare you, blah 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 blah. But now I've got to the point. It was like I know it works, and I know that we've become like a worldwide sensation, and I'm like, well, if you think you can do better, then do better. So I'm just like, I just kind of laugh off those comments of like, well, that's just one person's opinion. So,
I like to ask that question because I always wonder what everybody thinks that actually gets that opportunity to be that person. Could be almost like asking a one-hit wonder back in the 80s, what was it like to have one hit? They might say it was the greatest time of our lives, or they might say it sucked because we couldn't keep going.
Right.
But then again, you got people who play characters who are hated, and you feel like going, but I'm a good actor. That's why you hated me so much. I pulled it off. But you're under the makeup. So on a daily basis, you might not have anybody walk by and go, hey, you're Art the Clown.
Right. It's kind of nice having that little bit of anonymity.
Is it?
It is. But now I've discovered people are starting to recognize me outside of the makeup. I'm like, wow. Me
that's
this.
Cool.
And
see now I think that's cool.
That it was very cool for me to have that happen because my dad was visiting me earlier this year, and I was taking him to different locations around the city, and people would recognize me wherever I went, and I'm like, this is so cool to have that experience with my father there with me, and you could just tell he was just beaming with pride, and I was like, this is it's like, see, Dad, all this time and effort paid off.
I told you.
Yeah.
I'm not just a cartoon voice.
So that was cool. He, of course, introduced my dad to everybody. Like, oh my God, he was just having fun with it.
Well, we're talking about the franchise. It's a horror movie. It's scary as hell. It's called Terrifier But he also played in this other movie called Joker's Wild. And I saw Joker's Wild. And I remember watching it going, I'll never have that kind of energy. I was exhausted watching you. I'm like, how the hell do you keep your voice going like that? And how many takes were there? How many days were you on that set? The other guy almost had it easy because he was just getting fucked up. But you, yelling and screaming and doing all of that, laughing.
Oh, a lot of laughing. A lot of laughing. That's something I've worked on over the years, is that laugh for Joker. This is a character I've been cultivating for over 20 years.
Yeah.
It's a character. He's my favorite villain of all time. So I was very excited to have a chance to like finally show people my version of the character, how I want to portray him now. Because I've always, my thing is I've always wanted to do a comic book accurate version of the Joker, bring what was on the page to life. And so I've based my Joker off of who I think was the best Jokers: Cesar Romero from the old Batman series, and Mark Hamill. And
Mark Hamill?
Mark Hamill. He's Batman on the Batman the animated series. He's the Joker on there.
Oh.
He's the one everybody thinks with that little voice like
No
that.
kidding.
That's Mark Hamill.
That I didn't
So
know.
I put a lot of his Hamilisms, as I call them, into the voice. And then I put a little bit of Vincent Price in there as well, because I've always loved Vincent Price, and I always thought he would be an amazing Joker as well. And to me, I see Joker as also being a sexually ambiguous character, so I put a little bit more of a foppishness into him as well.
I didn't think that. You got to hand it to Cesar Romero, though.
Oh, he was
Could you imagine
great.
somebody saying to him, listen, here's what we're going to do. You're going to be a Joker. A what? We're a Joker. He's sexy. You know, you don't have to shave my mustache. No, we'll put makeup on it. It's going to look real. Where'd they even find that guy? I thought he was drunk the whole time they were making that show.
I know.
And he looked like he was loaded.
They probably
He's
all
loaded.
were, you know, it was the 60s, so.
Yeah, they
were all
probably
on
do.
different things.
They were all on coke.
Yeah. But that's the thing about his performance in there. He's like, you know that mustache is there, but you don't notice it because you're just so involved in what his performance is. And you forget that the mustache is.
I don't know.
just-
For some reason or other, I always saw it. And it looked like it was some kind of whitish green.
Yeah.
They had a green tint to
Yeah.
it, like it was the dye, the hair dye of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we have a friend in common.
Mm-hmm.
And our friend in common works in and I better get it right because I always screw it up. I say makeup. It's not makeup. And this is Tatiana Blue. She's the producer of this show. She's been the producer of the show since the inception of when I said, let's do a podcast. We'll pull it live from my mother's basement. Why? Because that's where I'm going to shoot it, in the basement.
Why not?
Yeah, tell me what to do. Go get the cameras. I only know how to be a personality.
Mom will be up there cooking the whole entire time. It was great.
Special effects. Is that it? Special effects?
Special makeup effects.
Special makeup effects. She's here. His name is Tatiana Blue. She was on the show. She does the most disgusting, horrible.
There she is.
There she is. You would never think this face can create such creatures. Isn't that wild?
It is very wild. It's so crazy. That's what I love about all these artists that I have worked with. Is like they seem like the most unassuming people, and like you have created these horrible creatures, and I'm like, and they look so sweet and innocent.
Yes. Tatiana, I mean, back in the day when she was showing me her put makeup on herself in time-lapse photography. And I'm looking and you're like, wow, okay. And that's disgusting. Don't show that to me. And she changed her face into a creature.
Oh yeah.
They came and did my podcast once, and her husband Cody came on the show, and they made me look like a boxer, and they cut me up and they stabbed me.
Fine.
But I would really like to be in a horror movie and get jacked up and fucked up. I've been in the one that they did, but you know, we didn't do the whole film, and I didn't get jacked up yet.
Okay.
I'm hoping to someday.
It's not as fun as you think it would.
I know it's not fun, but when you watch it. So
Yeah.
Tatiana did your makeup in The Mean One,
Correct.
and she won an award, right?
For a Mean One? No, for Mean One we didn't really get any like awards or
No, I don't
anything.
think
I
so,
think it was
no.
just in theaters.
It was just fun and silly.
But Joker's Wild, our fan film, to, you know, showcase David's ability to be an amazing Joker, that's actually in some festivals right now and winning some stuff. So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And also Glaystick.
That was our film, yeah.
She
That
made a
Mike
creature.
executive produced.
I'm an executive producer. You know what that
and,
means? I got 2 jobs. That's what it was. No. I don't really
You're an
have it.
executive and you produce.
Here's $5. Go make your movie.
And he also was our lovely park ranger.
Not the ranger.
That was, like, he was like, I want to be the guy that warns the kids to not go in the woods. And we're like, okay, done,
And
easy.
Then they stabbed me.
Oh, good.
And I didn't get stabbed. I was hoping.
Oh, you
Yeah.
were hoping? Oh, man.
When we do the feature
I want to
version.
choke.
Oh, the choke. That's always.
That's what
that
I
was
wanted.
one of the very first things I ever had to do was choke. It was Tara's character in Terrifier 1. And that's one area where I hate it because that's my Plan 9 from outer space moment where it's like, oh, that's a horrible shot. That's an ubu. Because I thought they were just. We had done other takes where it was of more of a close up, and I had my hands actually on her throat, but I was also too afraid of hurting her. So it was my first time doing any of that kind of stuff. But the shot they used, because apparently there was something wrong with those shots, is a further away, and I thought it was still a close up, so I wasn't really putting. I thought it was just going to be her face, so I wasn't really putting my hands on her neck too much. I was just giving her a break from it, and so it looks like I'm force choking her. It's like most people don't notice it, but I notice it every single time I see it because I'm like my hands are not on her throat, and it drives me crazy.
I think that someone fake screaming and being killed and butchered's got to be more difficult than being in a regular acting scene.
It is. It's hard.
You really got to pretend
It's
that
hard.
you're in pain.
And you have to do it sometimes days on end. I mean, I look at Casey Hartnett that was in part 2 with me in the bedroom scene. That took about a week to film, and every single day she's just for like 12 plus hours a day, she's having to scream the whole entire time while she's getting thrown around and slashed. And I'm like, she did that for about 5 or 6 days. I'm like, that's exhausting. I was amazed that she was able to keep her voice that whole entire time. Same thing with Chrissy Fox in part 3 with the opening scene. She's got a powerful voice on her. And I did a film a few years ago. Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on the name right now. I feel horrible about it. Sorry, Marcus, but
Screamboat?
No, not Screamboat. It was because I was just at the very beginning of it. Oh my God, if you can look it up. Yeah.
Stream?
No, not Stream. It was my God. I feel so bad. But my character at the beginning gets killed. And so it was my first time having to do a scene where I got killed, and I was having to do the screaming and yelling, and I had like my ear falls off during it, and I'm like, ah, and all. But it was crazy, and I was having to do all this screaming, and by the end of that day, I had no voice, and I had a pounding headache because it was from stress. And I was like, oh my God, I just did this for one day, and I felt like I'd been through the ringer, and I've never felt like that as the killer. So I'm like, oh my God, I had a new total respect in my co-stars that I have been killing in all these films. It was like, oh my God, that takes so much out of you. So it's like, this is going to drive me crazy until I can remember what this movie is.
Well, let me ask you this. So now you're working like this and you have these credits. Mm-hmm. Has it changed the game as far as getting you roles in other things outside of being a murderous clown?
It's definitely starting to open some doors now. It's a weird time in the industry, though.
Of course.
It's a very weird time. COVID kind of messed things up initially. Now we had the strikes a few years ago, so that slowed things down too. So the industry's now slowly trying to
right. But did you end up getting a new agent and new people working for it?
Yeah. Yes, I've had this agent for a few years, and so I'm happy with her. And we talked about this too. It's like, okay, let's see what else is out there. So I've had some other scripts thrown my way recently, and they're looking for funding right now. So got some irons in the fire, so I'm looking forward to see what's happening there. But also Damien's in the process of writing Terrifier 4 right now, and I think they're even thinking about doing sequels to Stream and Screamboat as well. So that's great. So hey,
that's good shit.
Yeah,
that is really, really great. Franchise those bitches.
Those things.
Make those monies. Now tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes. All
over social media, and perhaps come and meet you in person at one of your cons.
Yeah, you can find me on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook under David Howard Thornton. And I also have a YouTube page too, but I hardly ever post anything on there. But that's where you can see some of my weird voices and stuff like that. I did that years ago.
I really enjoyed listening and talking about the voices because it brings back such memories, you know. And isn't it fun when you're just talking and everybody's like, "Oh my God, I remember that stuff. I remember that stuff." And you feel like, "Oh, it was so much better."
It was.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, I miss Saturday morning cartoons. It's like that. Like kids today, I feel like an old man. Yeah, these kids today don't understand how much fun that was waking up every Saturday morning with a bowl of Cookie Crisp and sitting there in front of the TV.
Cookie Crisp.
Oh, that stuff is delicious.
See, now we're going to go on for another hour. Okay.
Oh, I know.
Blueberry.
Blueberry, Frankenberry.
Frankenberry. Count Chocula.
Fruit Brute.
I don't remember Fruit Brute.
Yeah, Fruit Brute. He was a werewolf. Then they had Yummy Mummy. You know,
those are two I don't remember.
Yeah, those are like more of the fruity ones.
Could you imagine we ate that?
Yeah.
With regular milk.
And it was different then too. It's like they've changed the recipe. They put more sugar in it back then, so they tasted so good. Like Cookie Crisp, I had them again a few years ago. I'm like, this tastes completely different from when I was a kid.
Tastes like cardboard.
It's horrible now. It just tastes so. It's literally, cardboard. That's what it tastes like. Cardboard.
Drake's Cakes. And a devil dog dipped in a full glass of cold milk, watching The Little Rascals.
Oh wow, Little Rascals.
Somebody's still bothering me with this stupid bell. All right, would you tell everybody one more time where they can find you?
You can find me Facebook, Instagram, Threads under David Howard Thornton. I believe my YouTube page is also under David Thornton or David Howard Thornton as well. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
David Howard Thornton.
I have to go by David Howard Thornton because there's another actor named David Thornton that he's actually Cyndi Lauper's husband. Yeah, he was in Home Alone 3 and he was also in The Notebook.
Oh, she's the best.
Yeah.
Girls just want to have fun.
I want to have fun too, but I can't use my name.
We got to get going. Folks, I want to thank my guest, David Howard Thornton, for coming down the basement and hanging out with us, making us laugh, making us think about the good old days, and letting us know it's a good thing to go watch a franchise of the Terrifier because it's terrifying. And if you like this type of genre, you're going to love it. I know I do, and I can't wait to go continue watching all of them, and hopefully they'll do Terrifier 5, 6, and 7, and they'll chop me up in the beginning. I have a cameo. Good. Let's make America Italian again, ladies and gentlemen. You know the motto. You don't know nothing. You don't see nothing. You don't say nothing. Big shout out to my producer who you saw on tonight's episode, Tatiana Blue, for always making sure we got a great guest come down the basement. And we put this out every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock right here on my YouTube channel. And also you can watch us on Spotify and listen to us on Italian American Radio out of New York City. We got to get going. And how do I end every single one of my podcasts? By saying the same thing along with my guest. Don't take no shit from nobody. He could probably do that in 200 voices.
I can.
Hey folks, thanks for watching Live from My Mother's Basement. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, hit the word like and leave me a really cool comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the future episodes and you can watch some of the funniest videos on the internet. You could also listen to the show on Spotify or your favorite podcast app.